Youth Against BBI is a consortium of different youth leaders and organizations, political parties, youth against the current, we call it an illegitimate process of amending the constitution. So we are coming here today to make our stand on this process, and we are saying as youths, we are taking our claim in the direction that the country needs to take. So we have prepared a statement on why, the reasons why we are against this BBI. So I'll read the statement. A clarion call, that is the headline. Good morning, everyone. Dear Kenyans, as we start this press conference, it cannot be lost on us the weight of the global COVID-19 crisis we are facing the world over. Our hearts goes to those who have lost loved ones in these terrible times, to those whose families have been shattered by the negative economic consequences of the pandemic, and to our gallant frontline health workers, risking it all to keep us safe. We owe you everything, we thank you, and we salute you all. YABC, Youth Against BBI Brigades Initiative Consortium, is a broad-based consortium of youthful leaders and respective organizations that have formed a memorandum of understanding to work together in the push against the constitutional change through the Building Bridges Initiative process. The consortium has 47 coordinators across the 47 counties, with thousands of supporters raring to mobilize towards a no referendum vote. We stand here today to give a strong and firm position of the majority of young people on the BBI and the Constitutional Amendment Bill currently before the county assemblies. Our coming together arose from the realization that for far too long, we young people have been used as pawns in the larger political chess game, even though 75% of Kenya's population consists of young people below the age of 35. Their role in decision-making, both in political and governance levels, have marginally been peripheral, dismissed, and often ignored, but not any longer. Our consortium seeks to correct this sad state of affairs as we declare here today, enough is enough. We are emphatically declaring today that we are taking back our donated power. We are taking our fates, future destiny into our own hands. The social contract that has been egregiously broken by our leaders in positions of power and influence, we trusted them to make better decisions on our behalf, but they have betrayed the trust. Our position on BBI and the Constitutional Amendment Bill, we strongly oppose the proposed mutilation of the 2010 Constitution to suit selfish and elitist political interests. It is instructive to note that the Constitution of 2010 is a document which was achieved through a rigorous struggle, shedding of blood, loss of lives through decades of activism. We cannot, therefore, as young people who are both the present and the future of this nation, allow the Constitution to be amended at the whims of two individuals who secretly sat somewhere and decided that we have a non-existent constitutional moment. In respect of patriots who paid the ultimate price in order for us as a nation to get the 2010 Katiba, we are demanding the current political leadership to fully implement the 2010 Constitution and shelve the BBI bravado that even if it tastes like winning, we must swallow it. We refuse that. From the onset, the genesis of this clamor for constitutional change is the handshake, a two-person decision that is shrouded in mystery, as the rest of major political players, the political actors, the church, and the civil society were left out in this all-important decision. That in itself has provided a toxic background and distrust around the BBI and the constitutional changes. There has been no goodwill and a collective, inclusive, robust national debate around the constitutional changes. The whole process has been a two-person affair at the behest of millions of Kenyans. We are appalled by the deceitful nature and blatant shameless lies BBI proponents are using to bring Kenyans into a colossal constitutional mistake. BBI is an elitist political document intended to achieve certain political interests. That is why the proponents are struggling to convince Kenyans and have resorted to strong arm tactics of coercion and threats. Indeed, this is what is referred to in the Swahili proverb, chema cha jiuza, kibaya cha jitembeza. The BBI proponents use the mantra, the proponents of this BBI mantra do not end with the coercion circus. They have also mastered the art of seduction using the carrot and stick approach. We see through the insidious schemes. These are the following lies we must demystify and deconstruct. convincingly to reject the BBI fraud. One, elusive prosperity and unity. While we claim BBI will foster unity and shared prosperity, the process has been opaque, non-participatory, and a choreographed charade and divisive. There has been no robust national debate involving all actors to chart the way forward as a nation. Parts of the country are still shut out economically, the sugar belt, the cotton regions, the wheat and the maize farming regions, without a guaranteed minimum return formula, and no economic investment blueprint in the future. We have to invest heavily in the agricultural economy to provide a baseline for a more export-oriented economy that will provide readily raw materials for a manufacturing heavy industry value-add economy. Then they must diversify further into a service economy. More monies to the county hopes. According to Article 255, we do not need a referendum to devolve more money to the counties. Pursuant to Article 203, Section 2, which gives the minimum threshold of equitable revenue to be allocated to the counties at 15% with no limit cap. So even if we accept it at 35, as they say in the BDI bill, we have seen no goodwill from the Jubilee regime in timely disbursement to the counties. Counties are constantly cash-strapped. There's no fiscal responsibility and accountability at the national and the county governments, imprudent utilization of the allocated monies to socially transform the lives of Kenyans. We are also cognizant of the cash-strapped government. It's broke and on a borrowing spree. We wonder in pity, where will the 750 billion to be allocated to counties if BBI passes come from, when the government is currently struggling with remitting 300 billion currently as we speak. It's an empty room. Inclusivity. Expanding the executive to suit the big five tribes is the gravest manifestation of politics of exclusion, tribal politics, and political patronage. Kenya has 44 tribes. How inclusive is the proposed system that only gives 5 tribes and leaves the rest? The bill vests more power in the presidency with no direct lines of accountability, have a PM that has no direct executive decision-making role in government policy decision. Instead, the bill introduces a mongrel presidential quasi-parliamentary system existing nowhere in the world. We have no 10 years to petri dish a system that we already know and we already see has flawed structures. We must, however, strive to unite, heal, love one another as Kenyans. Be bonded in our collective humanity, see ourselves in each other, feel the pain and suffering of each other, blur the tribal lines as we strive to create a more perfect union anchored in the love of God and country above everything else. So basically what we are saying is we are rejecting the hoax that are saying that the BBI amendment bill, includes everybody else. But yet what we need to be more focused on is how do we find a more united value system that anybody can be the president regardless of their tribe. But what we'll look for is what that person is going to bring on the table and what the agenda and their manifesto is in changing the lives of Kenyans. Improved representation. It's a mirage. Kenyans are already burdened by the huge government wage bill and overrepresented according to the 2010 Auditor General report. Furthermore, there's no correlation between number of MPs and improved lives of Kenyans. More MPs, senators have no correlation to competent, compassionate, visionary, and inspirational leadership Kenyans are yearning for. Therefore, we reject the new additions to the legislature. Separation of power. Separation of power is a fundamental principle of good governance. Checks and balances provide efficient functioning of government in service delivery. The introduction of judiciary ombudsman is an insidious weakening and eventual crippling of the judicial arm of government, and we hear one today. In the absence of rule of law, anarchy, chaos, and destruction is inevitable. Minority voices. The role of women have been diminished and gravely reduced in the amendment bill. Youth and other minority voices largely ignored, and their core issues not addressed. We welcome the four-year help moratoriums reprieve, but we'd rather the government completely write off help loans from those comrades who have graduated by 2017. On tax breaks, we welcome the move However, we strongly urge better fiscal responsibility, economic policy decisions, and focus on priority areas that can have a multiplier effect in jobs creation and economic boom. Business can only thrive in a robust, vibrant economy. We want an innovation and startup fund where young people can apply for seed capital and business incubation centers. We also strongly urge the startup fund to only be led at the board and its leadership by youths under the age of 40. As we conclude, we urge all youths to mobilize and organize towards a no vote in the upcoming inevitable referendum. We will be conducting a countrywide civic education on BBI contents, voter education on referendum process, and voting through town halls and barazas with youths in all the 47 counties. We will also mount an aggressive no campaign against the BBI bill led by youth leaders drawn across the different political persuasions from all the 47 counties. We welcome all those interested to join us, potential partners, financial partners, and development partners who will help us move this all-important agenda forward. Our democracy depends on it. Our clarion call is, for the spirit of constitutionalism, BBI must fall. For the rule of law, BBI must fall. For the future of this nation to be protected,
BBI must fall.
For the future of young people, women, and other vulnerable groups to be safeguarded,
BBI must fall.
As we come to close of this press statement today, we would like to address President Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay, as we come to the close of our press statement today, we would like to directly address His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya. Chinua Achebe said, "A cheek that grows to a hand is seen on the day it hatches." The misery and secrecy through which handshake was formed is the reason today we don't have a hand, but we have a monster called BBI, which seeks to rip off further impoverished, already poor Kenyans through expansion of legislature and executive. The expansion of the increase of 180 members of parliament will couple around 3 billion annually. Mr. President, instead of going around the country and lying to poor Kenyans and desperate Kenyans that BBI will add bursary allocation, can you work within the legal framework and establish 3 billion bursary kitty that will cater for those poor Kenyans? Mr. President, there can never be constitutionalism without a respect to the rule of law. You cannot pursue changes to the constitution while you are overseeing the return of detention without trial. Mr. President, you cannot pursue changes to the constitution while you are persecuting your political opponents using the police, the DCI, the EFCC, and the KRA. Your Excellency, you cannot pursue constitutional changes while you have disregarded more than 60 court orders, including 37 that ordered the return of the comrade Miguna. Mr. President, you cannot pursue constitutional changes while you have seriously interfered with the independence of the constitutional officers in this country, including the National Police Service, the EFCC, the ODPP, and the judiciary, which, apart from your refusal to appoint 40 remaining judges, you have went ahead, you seek to further interfere with the independence of the judiciary in the BBI by introducing a judiciary prefect in the name of judiciary ombudsman. We are telling you today, Your Excellency, as young people of this country, there is no constitutional moment. The proposed changes to the constitution in BBI are incongruous, egregious, deceitful, and selfish. We will not allow you, as the young people of this country, to rape the constitution, to mutilate the constitution with the assistance of your brother Raila Odinga. Your Excellency, on March 9, 2018, you told this country with your brother Raila Odinga that you cannot be leaders under whose watch the country degenerated into a failed state. Mr. President, we are telling you today, as the young people of this country, we cannot be patriots under whose watch the country was led into a wrong political direction. As young people in this country, we are standing up for the country and standing up for ourselves. We are cognizant and we are aware of the enticements we have used in the BBI, like for the young people, like the 4-year health moratorium, the 7-year tax holiday, the National Youth Commission, in an attempt to bait young people to support the BBI nonsense. We are telling you today, Your Excellency, we welcome the enticements, we welcome the 4-year moratorium, we welcome the 7-year tax holiday, but we cannot fall for your deceitful attempt to disturb and usurp the current constitutional order, which was fought through blood of the many people of this country. We have good news for you, Your Excellency. Instead, you don't need 14 billion Kenya shillings referendum to implement the 4-year loan reprieve for the education loans of this country. You don't need to spend 14 billion, Your Excellency, to keep the young people of this country who are very desperate the 7-year tax holiday. Instead, Your Excellency, we are recommending to you here today that instead of expend that 14 billion, can you appropriate the 14 billion to Youth Enterprise Development Fund to facilitate young people to register businesses, and so that they enjoy the envisaged 7-year tax holiday. So, Mr. President, we are categorically saying, we as the young people of this country, BBI must fall. BBI must fall. BBI must fall. Thank you.
Form me. Form me. Thank you so much. And our colleague.
It's still morning. Good morning, members of the press and my colleagues. Good morning once more. Comrades, power. Comrades, power. Power. Let me start by reiterating the words of Malcolm X, that we are gonna push and shake the bush vigorously until the freedom and the justice and equity flies free. Comrades are gathered today here as a declaration of the obnoxious, irascible, and cantankerous BBI report. We, as the Kusa, Kenya University Students Association, together with colleagues from Youth Against BBI Initiative and the Youth for Youth Kenya, are gathered today here to make a declaration that will give hope to the young people of this nation, that will give hope to our parents and give hope for our future, which has been intimidated. Today, we have decided, after reading, after a couple of months that we've read this BBI report, as youths from all the universities of Kenya, all 72 universities, and more than 150 TVETs, and more than 100 colleges have agreed that we are not gonna support the BBI initiative, simply because we have seen the initiative doesn't it doesn't guarantee for our interest as youths and comrades at all. Comrades, power. Comrades, power. First, the help loan, which has been touched on in the BBI report, that they are giving us a grace period of 4 years, doesn't make sense. Giving MCAs car grants for them to pass the BBI, but disadvantaging the comrades by giving them a grace period for them to come back and also pay back the loan, doesn't make sense. It doesn't hold water. As comrades, we are saying the BBI report, they should include they should bring us a BBI report that shows that the help loan does not cannot be paid back. We don't want to pay them. We don't want to pay them back. The money the interest in Haplon is much more than a comrade, a common comrade who is hustling. Instead, they would have provided for jobs. We want the state to provide jobs for these comrades. We graduate in universities, hustling for 8 years down the line without a job, and somebody is telling you to pay back the loan that he has proposed in the BBI. They are just enticing us with those 7-year grace period. They are enticing us with a commission. They are purporting to provide a commission that will, a youth commission that they think it will guarantee us a favor. As comrades from universities in Kenya, we are saying we are refusing this BBI. It's irascible. 2, MCAs, the process is not legitimate. They are intimidating MCAs to pass this BBI report. The MCAs are working under duress. MCAs are working under a conmanship type of. They are being granted they are being given a car grants, but those who are going to refuse it, they are intimidated through EACC, through KRA, and through police. We want to tell the president of this country, as I had said when I was studying my submission, I said that we are going to shake the bush until the justice and equity and freedom flies away.
Thank you.
As members of the press, we thank you for coming, and we want to tell the president that this country, it has nourished the democracy, and we want to speak out that we want democracy to come back. We don't want to go back to where Kenya came through. We want Kenya, which all the comrades, which all the Kenyans has a say. As the constitution states, it states in the preamble that the sovereign power belongs to people. We have the power. Na tunasema BBI tunai? BBI tunai? Thank you so much. I want to invite one youth from Youth for Youth Kenya to give his remark.